What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stirfry. It's your boy, Chef T.
I'm with a Spacekid.
And our special guest today is Ken Da Barber. What's going on?
What's going on with y'all? It's Ken Da Barber Hellcat Charger, just getting started. Hey.
Yes, sir. Yep, and it's our first Zoom podcast. I'm pretty excited about it. Where are you at right now?
I'm actually in Statesville, North Carolina. Shout out to y'all, man.
Hell yeah, I'm glad to have you on here. I like the vibe going on in your room. You got like the lights, you got the professional like mic set up.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the low-key home studio, bro. This is like the epitome home studio, man. So if I could show you everything, I got the light set up over there, got the bed over there, but then I got the little like studio thinking chair right behind me for real. So
that's the lounger
anytime,
right there.
Oh yeah, anytime somebody got some time to think or want to put something down, they hop in that chair right there, start thinking. The chair that I'm in is just the mixing and mastering, but then when you in the booth, you either in the closet or you standing right beside me for real, and you going hard. You going hard.
Hell yeah, I love that. I love the home studio. I feel like the one thing about home studios is you could just do whatever the fuck you want. Like if you want to experiment with some sound and do like a high pitched you could do anything,
I ain't gonna lie to you. I got a couple of songs that haven't dropped yet, but I want to drop. But hey, I got a bunch of different sounds, like way too many. They probably think that I was the next Drake or something with all the different sounds that I got. But I've been working with a lot of different people, so I've been playing with a lot of different things, and it's pretty cool being a at home or independent artist for real.
Yeah, that's dope. So you're like an artist. You're a man in many different hats. You've done everything, I feel like.
Literally, everybody says I'm a jack of all trades. So, like, if I could go down the list of everything that anybody or everybody has said, I could be like Ken Da Barber, Ken the Pilot, Ken the Sigma, Ken the Technician, Ken the Engineer, Ken the Artist. Like, I could go down a whole list of different things, man. And like, I'd just say I'm a jack of all trades for real.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely probably makes you more versatile. I remember, you're a DJ too. I remember we booked you for my fraternity. We're like, hey man, we need DJ.
I forgot that name. So my DJ name back then was DJ Dark Knight. But yeah, I'm still a DJ. I still be out here DJing all the time.
Okay, that's cool.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. So how'd you kind of get started in music? Like, because did you always do music?
So I actually got started in music back in the 6th grade, man.
Okay.
So 6th grade was when I was in band, and I was playing the trombone, which is like the long instrument, bro. You just had to sit there and do it like this the whole time and blow into something, pause. But that I was like, nah, let me play the trumpet after that. So I started with the trumpet. Then after the trumpet, I moved to the drums, and that was easy to get into. But then I was like, you know what? Let me step out of that lane and actually get into the flow of what real music is. Like, yes, it was real music, but that was playing an instrument. I was more so of a singer dancer. So 7th and 8th grade, that's when I started singing. I did a little bit of dance moves here and there, but I ain't never post nothing on YouTube or nothing like that. I ain't go crazy. But I would say after 7th and 8th grade of honors course, they would say I was literally the black Justin Bieber back then, because I used to hit when I say all the notes, bro, I would hit all of them like in an instant. They'd be like, oh yeah, he can sing. But then 9th grade hit, that's when my dad ended up buying a set of turntables. So them turntables kind of changed my life. That's where I was more so tuned into music. Anytime something new dropped, I was hearing it. I was hearing it before anybody else heard it. Me and my mans would go in competition just to see who got the new music of the week, who got the new song of the day. He would never match my swag. I would say that he would never match it. I'd be like,
You're always
I
on
already
it.
heard that for real. And then after that, when college came about, that's when I actually started getting into rapping. So like 2015 was when I dropped my first song with Davius or AD, and that's who's on my SoundCloud. We dropped Reality. Yep.
Okay.
And ever since then, I just took
let's
off.
backtrack a little bit. So if I'm correct, so from 6th grade to high school, you lived in North Carolina. Is that true?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So how outside of the music, how would you describe that like growing up? What does it look like to grow up in North Carolina?
Okay, so when I first Well, when I started in North Carolina, I was born in Greensboro, so that's a city side. That's where my parents went to college at.
Yeah.
Boom, whoop de whoop. Then I moved to Charlotte. Charlotte was a big city. I went to a bunch of like city schools and whatnot. Met a couple of friends there. This that, and the third. An old ex girl that I kind of not really still talk to, but still
Okay.
talk to. You know how that goes. But and then then I moved to Mooresville for a year, lived in an apartment, literally 2 bedrooms. Me and my sister shacked up in the same room for real. That's where I started playing in band and whatnot. And then like Mooresville was kind of countryside, but at the same time it was still city. It was a suburban area for real. And
Yeah.
then 7th and 8th grade, that's when I moved to Statesville, which is where I'm at currently right now. And that is like when I say country, on this side of town, yes, but on the other side, you got the city, you got the hoods, you got like different kind of groups of people like Mexicans, Indians, Asians, Chinese. Like it's a lot of people in Statesville. I didn't think it was that many, but at the same time, it's a small but big city for real.
Yeah. And it's crazy that all these, especially in the South, you're seeing this emergence of like suburban areas. Cause, it wasn't until like, I feel like earlier 2000s where they started expanding more, cause all that stuff used to just be farmland, like
You
big
wanna know?
country
You
towns.
wanna know what's so crazy? So I actually live on a golf course. My freshman year, or not my freshman year, my 7th grade year, when I moved into this house, it was literally a golf course and maybe 20 houses on my street itself.
That's crazy.
So when I went to college, like as soon as I went to college, they started rebuilding even more houses. So when I say it's over at least 200, maybe 300 houses on here, they've taken away the golf course. There's no more golf course. Like that's how suburban this area is starting to become. And so many people are like liking this area and they like the way the houses look and how they set up and things like that. Even the school systems, like that's really why people are coming here.
Right. I mean, well, because people want to build their own house first of all. Like I've been seeing this everywhere, especially in
Oh yeah.
Texas, dude. People are just rushing to Texas from California, and they're just
Yeah.
building all these development. Yeah, dude. The South is growing.
It is. I mean, that's where a lot of the country is. You being in Ohio, man, everything was literally like right next door. That's kind of how the houses are here, but there's a
Yeah.
lot more space between the developments that are here. So like there's one development here, then there's a development across the street, but you won't see another development till 2-3 miles down the road for real.
Right, and then they create their own like almost like a gated community type thing, but not
Yep.
really. Like yeah,
Yep.
like their own kind of environment.
That's exactly what's going on out here.
Yeah.
So when you say country, can we get into like a little bit of like details about that? Like what makes it country?
The people, honestly, the people, the surrounding
Overalls.
farmland. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. The overalls, the trucks, the tractors,
The
like people's
trucks.
cars. What else could I say? Man, um, I would say all the way down to like the shops. So like the city itself of where I live in, it's not like you going down the road to Walmart, Target, or something like within a 2 minute drive, 5 minute drive, or like even 10 minutes for real. It's a 15-minute drive to the next Walmart. It's maybe a 20-minute drive to the next Target. And then to get to the malls, it's 30 minutes. We have one mall in here, and I guarantee you it's smaller than a small in BG. Literally. Like there's two shops in there. There's a Foot Action and a Bed Bath and Beyond. Literally, that's it.
You got one for the dudes, one for the chicks.
Literally, there's no movie theater out here no more. Like we used to have one, but
That's
just
crazy.
literally, we got to go to Charlotte. We either got to go to Hickory, Greensboro. Like we got to go to outside cities to go to the movies.
Dude, I don't know if I could do that, man. I need to be
For real.
close to everything. I need to be able to like.
I mean,
It's-
that's basically how Bowling Green is now. Like they didn't chop the movie theater.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you didn't hear about
Dang.
that?
No, I didn't hear about that. What? That's crazy.
it was like I don't know, but
We was going to the movies for $5.
Yeah, dude. And then if you have your ID, you go on 325 or
For
something.
real.
Easy. Yeah. Dude, I'm so mad that they're like taking that out of there.
No, for real. I swear they had the biggest like profit whenever Black Panther dropped for real. Because
Yeah.
everybody went there at least 4 or 5 times. Like 4 or 5 times.
I mean, dude, you couldn't beat the price, dude.
Exactly. You couldn't nowhere. Like,
Nowhere. No, like yeah, the next closest one is like Perrysburg, but they're charging like $15.
Literally
Fuck
15,
that.
maybe even 20.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to tap into like the music scene.
Yeah.
So with the music scene, I mean, is the come up like rap battles, showcases, ciphers? Like what do you have to do in North Carolina to kind of like come up?
Create your own sound. I'm gonna say that right now. Like in North Carolina, you literally have to create your own sound. You got to see how the baby came out. You got to see how Stunner for Vegas came out. There's a dude out here named Fat Dave. He kind of big time with Stunner and everything, but even lower than them, I'm gonna just bring out some local rappers like Fat God Frank, DB Wank, who else? YG Bando. These are all people y'all probably don't even know of, but I guarantee you go look at maybe two of their songs, you don't like two out of three of them. And I only said look up two. Literally. Like you're gonna like two out of three of them, but everybody literally has a different sound. So when it comes to North Carolina, and even on the other side of town, you got J. Cole in them. Like everybody has a different sound out here, and it's literally about creating your own sound, getting a fan base, a support group to actually follow you and push your music just as much as you would want it pushed. So like you have some low key rappers that are out here. I'm not even gonna say any kind of names because I don't really know any low key rappers, but at the same time, they push their music just as much as they push anybody else's. So whenever you do that, you actually got to build your platform, reach out to those other artists and say, hey, I'm trying, not saying I'm trying to be like you, but I'm trying to get on the same level as you. I want the same fan base or same support group as you. This is my sound. Can you push it just as much as mine? But also give me tips just to help me out as well. And that's what a lot of rappers or artists out here do.
Yeah, I mean, what are some? I feel like no matter where you're at, though, there's some similarities. What is that sound? What is that like key thing that you think is throughout all of like the Charlotte rappers?
Um, a key thing I would say is like I wouldn't even say it's like fast rap or anything of that sort. I would say like punchlines for one.
I was about to say,
Punchlines is really, really
yeah,
key.
punch-ins. Those like,
Yes. So like whenever they get into a verse, like you hear most of them saying things back to back to back to back to back to back to back, but you probably didn't catch their punchline whenever you first heard a song. So you got to listen to it again. Then you got to listen to it again and see whatever else they said. And when they do things like that, it kind of brings your attention to actually who they are and how they want their music to come across. So like the guy that I did the concert with just recently, he has a completely different style of not saying music, but a completely different style of flow than I do. And when I come off on a song, I may hit you with hard bars for 8, and then the next 8, I'm gonna hit you with something smooth real quick. So A, I can catch my breath, and B, y'all can understand what I'm saying. Him on the other hand, I'm gonna hit you with a hard 16 straight up and keep it going.
So you
Literally.
could correct me if I'm wrong, but on the outside looking in, I would think that watching what the baby is doing is a lot more exciting than watching what J. Cole did in the aspect of like, so J. Cole is way more successful, awards, records, but to me, it looked like the baby is a more direct representation of North Carolina.
Yes and no. Both of
Okay.
them have, I'm gonna say this, yes and no. Both of them have different reputations within North Carolina. So I ain't gonna lie to you, J. Cole is literally a soul rapper. Like he feeds the soul, right?
Okay.
yeah,
The
Gotcha.
baby, on the other hand, he feeds the mind, he feeds the exterior, he feeds everything outside of that as well. As sometimes the soul, whenever he gets into his slow jams and things like that. But I wouldn't say neither one of them paint a perfect picture of North Carolina because you can't paint a picture with just two entities. You need everybody as a whole unit.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna say this, but at the same time, not everybody supports the baby or not everybody supports J. Cole, even being in North Carolina, because
Gotcha.
they may not like the way he sounds or they may not like what he said in a certain song. But at the same time, I like both of them. I ain't gonna lie to you. I
Yeah.
like both of them
same. Yeah,
and I push both of their music just as hard. But at the same time, I'm trying to tap into mine just to get on their level. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm looking back on myself. How do I reach the same playing field that they are on?
yeah. So I know in Cleveland, it's been real challenging for people here to appreciate each other's music. How is the scene there? How are people, you know, sharing music? Or is it super competitive? Are people like collaborating a lot? What's it like?
So just here in Statesville, it is very, very competitive because it ain't nothing to do here. When I say nothing to do here, like I said, it's you got to go 30 minutes or 45 minutes to go to the next mall or do anything big for real. Everybody that's in Statesville, Mooresville, or even Iredell County, period, it's like it's literally a hassle trying to get your music out there to even just the people that may live next door because they not listening to your music. They listen to mainstream artists. They listen to somebody that's bigger than you because not saying they don't believe in you, but they don't hear the same sounds or they don't think that you're on that level yet to be played like they are. So it's very competitive. There's a lot of different collaborations. There's a lot of different types of music out here too as well. I want to say there's only two R&B artists out here for real, and they really rarely make R&B music, but they're good at it when they do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so especially when you're like from more of like a country-esque type area, you know, I could imagine it being very competitive when you guys all have to go to the same venues that are in like Charlotte or whatever, you know.
I mean,
How's that work? Where's the place to perform at? Where does everyone go? Like there's got to be like a
honestly, out here, we don't go anywhere but a drag strip. So there's a drag strip in Mooresville. And the last time they had a function like that at the drag strip, it got shut up because not saying people don't like each other, but people got their beef with certain people and stuff like that. And rest in peace, Crunk. He did die. But at the same time, those are the type of areas that you kind of don't want to put your music in to start out with. You kind of want to go to somewhere that's secure, somewhere that's a location that everybody can hear. And that's something that I've been thinking about starting out here, which is low key like the showcases that we did in BG, where you got a couple of artists or multiple artists from the area come out there, play their song, sing their song, do this, that, and the third, let judges vote about it, give them some money back for performing, or even give them a chance to shoot a video or open up for somebody. And that's something that I've been thinking about doing out here, which is like another jack of trades that I have, literally.
yeah. I think that's great. It'd be great to start that stuff. I think we were wherever we went. We went to I think we were was it Greensboro?
Yeah, we went to Greensboro.
So I think it was
Definitely.
Greensboro, and we went like right by the college. I forget what college that was called.
Probably NCNT.
Yeah. And they had a cool ass venue spot. You should check it out and perform there or something because it was dope. They had it was meant to just be a creative spot. They had bartender, but it was a small place, you know.
We really don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We actually have those like locally in our city. So we got the Civic Center, we got the fairgrounds, we got Bentley Center, Recreation Center, stuff like that. But people don't use it because of how much they charge to rent it out for just an hour or two. But judging from like a budget and things like that, people out here really ain't got it like that. Upcoming artists really ain't got it like that out here. So you got to look outside of just themselves, and that's where I'm trying to get everybody on the page of like really looking outside yourself and what
So
you could do and helping everybody else.
got you. So right now you don't really feel like it's a organized music scene. You could call these three people and get like three shows, like for the month.
No,
Like you could do that right now.
I can't do it here in Statesville, but I could call some people in Charlotte. I could definitely call some people in Charlotte and do that.
Okay,
For
got you.
sure.
Yeah, so Charlotte, like who's the biggest person right now in the city? Like you know how you have people that are big, they're not like mainstream yet. Who's the biggest person in the city right now? It's not mainstream.
In Charlotte area, Fat Dave, for real. Fat Dave and YG Bando, them two right there. On the rap scene, most
Fat
definitely.
Dave.
Yep. So if y'all literally look up Fat Dave or YG Bando on YouTube, go listen to their music. I guarantee you.
Is Fat
you
Dave
will find-
fat?
Yeah.
How
Hey, there's
how
a
fat?
reason.
No, I'm just kidding.
To be real, I don't know. I couldn't even judge man's
Fat
weight
Dave.
size. Probably like 250, maybe even.
You know what sucks is like if you have a name like Fat Dave, you can't get skinny.
Exactly.
You could, but you just be like, you're not Fat Dave anymore, man. You're fake.
That's like being Fat Joe and getting skinny for real.
Yeah. Like that's your, especially if that's your gimmick, you're like the fat rapper. It's hard to become like the non-fat rapper.
No, for real.
Rick Ross kind of like, he's still like bigger, but he's not skinny, but he lost weight.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah. But so I'm gonna
Lopez.
peel it back a little bit and kind of talk about, you when you were younger, what artists kind of inspired you to make music?
I'll say the two artists that really did was Soulja Boy and Drake. No cap.
Soulja Boy. I love, one of my favorite ones is Birdwalk. Not many people, I feel like.
No, Birdwalk was fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
I bought that music video on iTunes. I begged my mom and I just watched it. When they're on the football field. That shit was so fire.
Hey, that was banger. But my actual first, not really freestyle, but my written lyrics was Crank That. And it was for an English class in 6th grade.
Bobby, you.
Literally.
That shit was so hot. That was the first like huge viral dance, if you think about it. Like that was the start of everything. That's crazy to think about.
Yep.
Well, those are two kind of different artists. So kind of tap in on like what different things that they contribute to, your career or ideas more so. Because those are two different artists.
That's a amazing question I ain't gonna cap to. So Soulja Boy, on one hand, he a dark-skinned dude. He's like an outgoing person, but not really when it comes to like him, you seeing him personally, probably. But at the same time, he gonna talk his shit, he gonna say what he need to say and get it done for real. He probably has over 10 mixtapes that nobody's ever really heard, but some people listen to it still. But then you got Drake on the other hand. Drake has been going for the last 15, almost 20 years maybe, like literally. So that's somebody who I look up to, or not necessarily look up to, but kind of inspires me to keep making music for real, because you ain't gonna just make it hot off of one song unless you got a bunch of people following you and actually supporting you just as much as you support yourself for real. And you need people in different places to be able to help you get there. And that's what I feel like Drake had, especially when he was on Degrassi and things like that. So he had a platform that he started from, switched from that, built something else, and then started something else on top of that. But Soulja Boy, on one hand, he just went straight into music. He was mixing people's stuff, making beats and everything like that, and showing off, really.
Yeah, I think Drake's been super adaptable.
For real. And that's one thing that I commend him about, for real. And that's kind of something that I want to do.
Well, I mean, you're like a DJ. You do all these things. I'm sure you can adapt easily within music, Yeah, he has, because every year he kind of has a new. If you listen to every album of Drake, each one is going to be a new sound,
The albums, the features, the
culture, even. He embraces these cultures.
Because a 10-year run, I think people don't understand what a 10-year run is. Like we talking about from 2010, well, really 2009, 2008, depending on how you want to look at it. But I'm going to just throw the 10-year run out there. 10-year run is hard to survive. Music changes. What people want to listen to changes, and you still there.
But that's the thing. He created that. So how he created that 10-year run, he literally adapted to a bunch of different changes within the world itself and just himself as an individual.
Yeah.
That's kind of something that I want to tap into. So like, for example, Gunna, like how he just made that one album, and I don't know if he mentioned it, but if you watch his documentary, he actually spent some time in Mexico. I don't know how long it was. Maybe it was 2 weeks. Maybe it was a month, where he just basically went around Mexico listening to different songs that they made, making his own songs with his producer, literally living with him while he was there. And he just created that album from that jump. Literally, just I'm inspired by that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. People don't even. Well, let me take it back. A lot of people don't consider about that, like listening to world music and music all over the place and being inspired by a certain music creates better music, because you're able to take a sound from, like, let's say Mexico, and incorporate into your music. And then people have never heard this before because we're not hip to what's the underground music scene in Mexico, And when I say underground, they might be underground, like it's so low key. They're just playing in the streets, no one's hearing them. Yeah. And you could take like some of that culture, tradition, and bring it into your music. People love that.
No, for real. And what happens with that, it brings out their original culture. So like I remember going to Bahamas and Jamaica and Mexico with my parents, and not saying I didn't listen to their music, but at the same time it sounded like their music was all the same. If I could recall some of their songs, I would not lie to you, it sounded like something that Drake has already made. So it's like, dang,
Oh yeah.
I remember listening to this back when I was in Jamaica, or something similar to it back when I was in Jamaica, the Bahamas, or things like that. But like, I just want to myself, I want to explore even further than just this side of the country.
Yeah, if you experience more world sounds, your music's gonna be better. I mean, that's
Oh yeah.
if you could take something from each culture and incorporate in your own music. I mean, that's just gonna make it a way better, just way better all around.
It definitely will. And that's what I feel like that's where I'm getting to. Like that's exploring different parts of the world, not just being there, but also just like with all the different like people who hit me up throughout the day, and then just like listening to other people's sounds on different apps and stuff like that. You start to listen and hear how different people flow. So like even going to Atlanta this last weekend, you heard everybody kind of, not saying everybody kind of rapping the same, but everybody took samples from different artists or different people who were already out here in the music industry. And it's kind of crazy how they do that without facing the consequences. But at the same time, they made, not saying they made a better song, but they made something that fit them out of it.
Yeah. And if we look at it, you were you gonna say something? Will?
I was gonna ask. So, what was the reason that you were in Atlanta?
So that's a, when I say a long story, that was all literally done by me, myself, and I. Um, Scrolling through Instagram, looking at free beats and stuff like that. I popped up on an ad talking about, do you want to be a part of BET Weekend 2021? Sign up now. Boom. Sign my name to the list. Messed around, got an email about a month ago, and they were like, yo, your name has been submitted. Your song sounds good. Let's start this process. You need X amount of nominations to perform and X amount of nominations to do this, that, and the third. So when I first started, I want to say it was like September 18th, I believe. September 18th. That's when I did my first live on Instagram.
Okay.
And with that, it, not saying it took off from there, but the concert took off. That was literally a campaign process. So I started to GoFundMe. I started hitting individual people up, making even more music. Didn't know what to put out. I had to push back a mixtape that I was working on with my cousin Day Day. That's who's been making literally all of my beats that's out there right now. And literally the work ethic up until now is basically been like, hey, I need more supporters, more followers, more fans, more people who like my music. Not saying it has to be mainstream, but at the same time, it's something that you might listen to while you're riding down the street, you working out, you doing something. Like you may just listen to it one time and then pass it by for real. But at the same time, that's get me out there. That's getting some kind of exposure. So at the start of it, we got the option to, or not option, we had the chance to make a song to be featured in a new movie called 50 Shots, and it's about Sean Bell who got killed in New York. So I submitted that within the first week. Boom. The next week they hit me with another email talking about, you gotta drop a trash talk video on IG and tag us in it. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Did it, no shirt on, everything like that. Whoop de whoop. Boom, promoted the concert itself as big as anything else for real. Cause that's like really the main thing. Everybody wanted to see me in a physical setting and performing, actually doing a song, actually like in the action more so than
Right.
just behind the camera and not really having a mix to it, or not even being behind the camera, just hearing a song and that's it. So like even me just doing that like helped bring out even more people. So I ended up making a song with my man's Key Money. That's who I did the concert with. And we went out to ATL. It wasn't an all expense paid trip, but we ended up going out there, low budget, low budget for real. We did the concert, practice one time, literally one time. And the day of the concert, we were like, hey, we about to just take off from here. Like that's all we can do is go up from here. So we end up performing right after the second top person for nomination. So like it was one person or two people. Their names were Charlotte Banks and Frequency. Shout out to them. They did have a banger song, and it was definitely about Black Power. But the dude who went right before me, his name was Jabba Ranks, and he kind of set the tone for everybody else. His song went so hard that it had everybody outside of the room jumping. Like they was like, "Hey, can y'all play that again, please?" It was like, "Dang, that's how hard that song was going." He literally shouted us out and everything. And once we hopped on stage, it was literally a show. Like we literally gave him a show. But the only thing that we didn't like about it was how big the stage was or the room was. So it was a room size like a conference room, not as big as O's Camp 101, but we can use O's Camp 101 just divided into four, literally. So
Okay.
there's four different sites that you could have been streamed on. So it was like Too Hot Radio, Make It Something, ICU, and then something else. I forget what the last one was, but they're literally all right beside each other. And you could hear the other person's song that was being streamed on another site inside your room. So it kind of threw you off. And the other thing that kind of messed us up was microphone settings. So like we couldn't get that close to each other. So as close as y'all two are right now, if we got that close, you would hear literal microphone buzz from it. So we
Oh
felt
yeah,
like
the
that's that was like
yeah.
that's trash. We don't like that. So at the same time, we still worked with it, made it a show, made a performance, and literally everybody liked it. I got a bunch of pictures from people from work and just being in like their own home places, taking pictures of themselves watching it, and also taking pictures of me just being in that area, like being on stage. But after that, I met a bunch of different connections with artists, things like that. Got to meet the Black Ink Atlanta crew. Got to see their tattoo shop. Hopped on a party bus. Got a bottle of champagne.
Those
Complimentary
Atlanta
cigarette.
party buses, man, go crazy.
It does, but that one it was a steel party bus, so we just sat there for a little bit. Then boom, we had to hop off. Somebody
Okay,
else
I
had to
got
come
you.
on. Yeah, so it wasn't nothing too crazy. I mean, some of the girls out there, it was nice, but I ain't gonna lie to you, you can't trust everything in Atlanta. You can't trust everything in Atlanta, but everything.
Yeah.
I'll say this: it was a dope experience. We got to meet a bunch of different
I feel like
producers,
Atlanta,
artists.
I always see the parking lot go crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, the parties and events go crazy, but the everybody footage from these parking lots be
And you
looking
want to
epic.
You want to know something? That's really how we had the parking lot. So after the party bus, all I did was turned on my car, played the song that we performed, and everybody in the parking lot was literally jumping to it. Literally.
Yeah, that's epic. That's
That
good energy, man.
yeah, that's good. That's dope. That's cool to have. Obviously, right now everything's fucking closed. Like concerts aren't happening that much, or I mean, not at all. Uh, but it's cool to have the opportunity to go down and even though it was a live stream concert, right?
Oh yeah.
That's cool. That's a cool opportunity. So, what kind did you learn on your trip?
For real, for real. Don't be nervous. Give
Okay.
it your all, and to be honest with you, don't look back at it. You gonna look back at it from all the pictures and stuff, but don't look back at it as it was something bad. Use it as something positive to make or learn from for the next steps in life, because that was just one scene. You got many more to go. You got many more things to accomplish. So you want to go ahead and use that knowledge and accomplish even more. And that's literally what I learned with networking with a bunch of different people. So how I've not saying how I've started moving, but how I've been moving. I've been on a little teeter totter of starting my own label or starting my own music group, and kind of started the own music group, but the label process is taking a little bit longer because I need more people within the group itself. And that's kind of what's going to help us move forward as an entire unit, as well as get other people around us that aren't associated with anybody or don't know how to do this or that within their music, but want to put music out there, get them a part of something that they thought they could never be a part of, for real.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It obviously seems like it's kind of needed. Like that kind of music group is kind of needed where you're at. Help expand. How far is the drive from where you're at to Atlanta?
4 hours. So 4 hours and five
Oh,
minutes from my exact house, literally.
that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. It's a half a trip to Ohio from here, for real, literally. So it's like an 8 hour drive in 1 minute from here to Ohio,
Oh
but
yeah,
four
that's
hours and a
true.
half
I mean, Atlanta was our next stop when
Yeah.
we had one on tour.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it was like
from
Like it was
four.
literally the next stop. So like that makes sense.
From North Carolina?
Yeah, because we went down, pretty much down the whole.
Okay. Bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love Atlanta. I think that Atlanta, that's where I'm gonna end up.
I
That's
got
where
you.
I think I'm gonna head there. After I'm done here in Cleveland, try to get in the movie business down there.
Hey, I mean, it's lit. I mean, it's a lot of different studios out there for you to do that too. I mean, it's a lot
Shit,
of different
Tyler Perry
people
built
too.
that huge ass studio.
Exactly.
It's like
Epic.
12 studios.
Not gonna lie to you, that everybody says it's black or Atlanta is the black Hollywood, literally.
Yeah, it's
So like
facts. That's
when
facts.
you
Yeah.
compare it to LA or something like that, where they do all the studio things out there in California, you literally got the black Hollywood over here in Atlanta. And that's
Yeah,
kind of
when
like
things are changing, like I think slowly but surely LA is going to become. I mean, it'll probably still be the hub for a long time, but I think it's slowly fading away from there because that place is not going to last too long.
oh yeah. Not, it's not. I mean, just like any other, not gonna say any other place, but a lot of different places, they're gonna start building even more buildings, more grounds for more people to live there and things like that. Cause at the same time, everybody's dying off. We still making more people every day. Like somebody's getting pregnant every day. Somebody's having a kid every day.
Yeah, and well, LA's burning, it's on fire.
That's
California's.
true.
You know, I just think people are gonna eventually just be like, "Fuck this, let's go to like Texas or like Atlanta, even New York." Man, I don't know. I feel like eventually it's gonna fade out and go. A whole new hub is gonna be built, and I think Atlanta's the next gonna become the big one. I know it's already a big one, but I think it's gonna become like top.
Oh yeah, Atlanta is like literally the next one on the map for real. Not gonna lie to you, and I kind of want to go back out there again, but I wouldn't want to live out there.
Why don't you want to live out there?
Traffic, literally traffic. All
I
right,
know they have like 10 fucking lanes, and you're still backed up like a motherfucker.
literally like, and that's on two different sides, like literally. So your 5 lanes itself may be moving slowly, but then the other 5 lanes on the other side just made me stop completely, like literally. I was like coming back from Atlanta, that's when we hit that traffic, and I was like, man, are you serious? It took us about 5, maybe 6 hours to get back versus the time frame we took to get there, and that's because we left at nighttime to get there, but then during the daytime we rode back and we kind of experienced that traffic. It took a long time.
Yeah, that shit gets bad. My uncle lives out there. He's rich. He's got like his neighbors. I can't remember if it's Vince Vaughn or Vince Vaughn's girlfriend
What?
or what. But yeah, something crazy. But yeah, he told me he lives literally 15 minutes away from downtown Atlanta. Takes him like hour and a half to get to work.
Dang. So it's a rule of thumb. It was literally a rule of thumb that I was told from somebody. I forget who it was, but it was like going to Atlanta or living in Atlanta. You could literally set your clock every day to wake up to just go to work at the same time every single day. But you miss that time frame by 1 minute and you're gonna hit Atlanta traffic just like that. Like I was like, man, that's crazy. I would not want to live in a city like that. Like everybody just decides to wake up all at the same minute and just get on the road all at the same time.
I know. It's crazy. It all stems from like one person. Like if there's an accident, oh man, it's chalk.
Exactly. Yeah, for every lane though. It could just be
Ever.
in one lane.
Yeah.
Every single lane is just chalk.
Literally, yeah. Everyone's like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" They're going like 10 miles an hour. Or you had the old granny.
What we call it out here is called rubbernecking. So everybody just be rubbernecking, just looking to see what's going on.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh shit." Oh yeah, you ever pass an accident and you're like, "Dude, what the hell was the holdup? This isn't like the farthest lane. Why were we all stopped?"
Exactly.
And it was
Everybody,
literally whoever was up front just fucked it for everybody.
yeah, everybody just want to see what was going on. Make sure everybody's safe. See if they come see a helicopter coming in just to land.
I don't even think it's to see everyone safe. I think people just want to see the chaos, honestly.
Facts.
We're being real. Like, most people probably want to see, like, oh, shit, is that on fire? What the fuck's going on? Oh,
For
shit.
real. Man, I done seen my fair share of accidents. Done been in my fair share of accidents too, but I wouldn't want to cause no traffic like that for real. That I would feel bad for everybody else behind me. No cap.
Yeah, that's another level. So, so you grew up in Charlotte, then you go to BG for college. How crazy is that how like different is that transition?
I honestly want to get out of the house or get out of this area for real. And the transition from North Carolina to or Statesville, North Carolina to Bowling Green, Ohio, kind of wasn't anything different. Only thing was no that was different was the weather. Not gonna say the people are the same because nobody is ever the same, but the people that I surrounded myself with, they kind of felt like the same people that I had back here. So it was basically a support group there and then a support group here. So I could connect with anybody and everybody that I connected with in Bowling Green, Ohio, just as much as I can do in North Carolina as well. So
So
like,
I'm gonna tap in and say that. So yeah, you found your small group of people, right?
yep.
But at the same time, we just gonna say North Carolina and Ohio have different cultures.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna throw Michigan in there too. So between comparing, North Carolina culture to Michigan and Ohio culture and meeting these different people, they saying different things, they dressing different. You got to give us like, what did that look like to you, and how did it hit you?
I'll say this. So y'all say different things, different ways. Y'all dress differently. Price changes on things out here. So like you might buy a shirt or something for maybe $15, $20, something like that. And it may be a nice looking shirt. But you go out there and you show that same shirt off for $15 or $20, they'd be like, dang, is you broke? Like you can't just pick this up from somewhere else. But like it's just like how the style is differently out there. So not not saying we haven't created our own brands or our own businesses out here because there are a lot of different brands and businesses out here and they aren't just like outgoing as much as Ohio is. So like one dude you had on there, Runaway Love James. I don't know if you're gonna have him on here, but you need to have Zill on this joint made to succeed. It's a bunch of different brands of clothing styles and clothing lines that are hard that are out there. Out here, I'm not saying they're not hard. They're hard, but it's just the fact that they don't outreach themselves or they don't promote themselves just as much as people out there in Ohio do. So like they may here they're not as outgoing or they're not saying they're not friendly, but they're not as outgoing. They're not open or willing to accept somebody new into their circle. They got to know you first. Like if I don't know you, I'm probably not going to mess with you. That's how people are out here. But
I
at
feel
the
like
same
it's
time,
cold weather.
yeah,
I don't know. The cold weather makes people more aggressive, more like I like they don't give a fuck. That's why you go to New York, people are ruthless.
no, for real. No, for real.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors that live up the street, he's from New York, and that's probably the most outgoing person ever. Like when I say he talks the most shit about this housing development, man, he literally talks the most shit about this housing development. I'm like, dang, I didn't even know this, but hey, you don't put me on game for real.
Yeah. So how did you even hear about BG coming from North Carolina?
My sophomore year in high school, my student teacher for elementary for English class, she was a student teacher from Bowling Green came out to North Carolina. You know how they got to do their student presentation, show them where they came from and whatnot. She said that at that time that Bowling Green was the second in the nation for aviation. And since I was 7 years old, I've always been wanting to fly planes.
Okay.
So I took that into mind. Was like, hey, I'm gonna put Bowling Green on my list of aviation schools. So that's where I went.
Why aviation? Was it
So back when I was 7 years old, my grandmother or actually I think we took a trip to Disney World. Yeah, we took a trip to Disney World. My parents were like, "Yeah, y'all not coming on a trip with us, this, that, and the third." I'm like, "All right, okay." But the pilot walked up to my family and was like, "Hey, do you want to take a tour of the cockpit?" Boom. I said, "Yeah, I want to see what's going on." So I walked into the cockpit, pushed a couple buttons, was like, "Hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life," and that's where it was. I set that in stone.
that's awesome that just from that moment, like you don't think about that all the time, with little kids, but like a moment can change a kid's life
Mm-hmm.
in an instant. If maybe your whole life might have been totally different had he not shown you the plane. You know, isn't
Exactly.
that crazy?
So like one
Think
thing that I
about.
used to think about was like being a police officer, being a firefighter, things like that, like normal average jobs for real. But when I saw a plane, yeah, I was like, yeah, I gotta fly a
Game
plane.
over.
For real.
So, what do you like about flying? Like, I know you got to experience some like flying in BG. How was that? How was that experience?
I ain't gonna lie to you. The first day you actually get in the class, you actually hop into a plane. So like your hands-on class, which is like AERT 1040, I believe, some 1020 to 1040, one of the two. That first day, literally, you sign a bunch of paperwork. You say, "Hey, I'm liable to do this, this, and this. I'm looking to get this, this, and this out of it." Boom. They take you on a plane, take you up for a couple of takeoffs and landing, fly you around for a little bit, show you different controls. You touch down. Then it's your turn to do exactly what he just did. But on the way, they're teaching you different steps of how to take off, what's the proper like procedures to do certain things. And like most people think that flying is traveling from point A to point B and then going back to point A again, but it's not really. So when you're going through the teaching slash learning process of it, it's more so you learning how to save yourself and others from an accident.
Okay,
Yep.
that's good. Yeah, that's good to know because I feel like that was probably pushed heavy after all of like the problems that happen where you have to think fast
Oh yeah.
and you need to be able to guide yourself to like a landing spot if shit happens.
Exactly. And that's kind of the reason why I don't want to fly a helicopter, but at the same time, everybody says fly a helicopter. It's not saying it's easier, but at the same time, it's a lot more simpler for real. But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it now, but back then, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, nah, you won't catch me in a helicopter.
Yeah. How was your first moment when you were in the air flying it?
I wanted to videotape it. Honestly, I want to videotape it. Like,
When if you
we
go
just doing
live,
this.
you're like, hey, yo.
For real, I want to videotape it. But I got my chances to actually do that over time. We had to take a bunch of different like solos and whatnot. So it wasn't me saying or me going live. It was more so me taking like small snapshots of me just flying across Ohio, literally. So I remember I got a couple of them flying past the Cleveland Browns Stadium, flying past like 4 or 5 big jumbo jets landing into Cleveland airport. Then I took a couple of flicks of the Buffalo Bills arena,
Wow.
Indiana, like
Wow. That's
literally.
crazy. So they let you I like the idea that they just let you fly to a certain place, not just like around BG. So you got to actually go and fly the plane, like really fly in a real experience.
So with that, so with your classing and everything, or the schooling process of it, so you get a certain or a set amount of instruction time. Instruction time is meaning you with your instructor, either ground lessons, or you with your instructor in the plane, or you and your instructor in a simulation aircraft, which is the sim that they got out there in Bowling Green, which is actually dope too. But then you have a set amount of hours each like course that you're in. So in solo, not solo, but private, I had a 5 hour slot, and that 5 hour slot took me from Bowling Green to Indiana to Columbus back to Bowling Green. And that was 5 hours in that
That's
plane,
awesome.
literally. And so how it was in a solo or in the private one, you had to touch down, boom, get gas if you needed it. If not, you could just chill out for a second, but you had to be back by a certain time within that 5 hour to 6 hour slot. Other than that, you getting phone calls. You getting phone calls like, where you at, what you doing, what's going on. We need to know where the plane is. This and the third. We got another slot. Like that's how they work. But at the same time, I feel like that one, I landed in Indiana, walked around the little FBO for like 30 minutes or so, hopped back in the plane, took off from there. Boom. And that was like my very first time soloing by myself. And when I say it was a different experience, it was scary. Definitely, definitely don't have or drink anything beforehand, meaning like water, soda, anything within a 5 hour trip, because you're in a plane for 5 hours. Like there's no bathroom. You literally have to
You
emergency
didn't bring any
urinate.
Gatorade bottles,
Oh
like
no. Uh-uh. It was more so like, hey, I had to stay literally like liquid free for 5 hours just to make it there and back. If anything, I would have brought some food, but I didn't even bring that because I was like, if I end up getting
You have
sick,
to shit,
obviously,
dude. Oh, it's done.
it's terrible.
They're like, what the fuck is that smell? You're like,
Man, had an accident,
that's. I bet that was super freeing though to just be in the air by yourself, flying to Indiana. That must be just a cool experience.
So, and it is, it really is. It's really a dope experience. So, like, things that people don't know about flying planes. So like you kind of get headphones like this, but it also has a mic attached to it. But there's certain other cons that you can have too as well, where they're Bluetooth, where there's no wire connected to anything, but there's a hub. So within that hub, you can also connect your phone and listen to music as well. So you could be listening to music, or if you get a phone call, that Bluetooth thing could transfer that phone call to your headphones and you talking to somebody that's on the ground, literally. But that's only within certain heights. So like, how they tell you got to turn your phone off when you're on a commercial airplane. In regular like general aviation airplanes with small prop planes and things like that, you really don't have to turn your phone off, because not saying it doesn't mess or interfere with the wireless, but it doesn't interfere directly with what you're doing. So there's a lot of people you got to talk to on the way, yes, but at the same time, you're going to hear them come in over top of whatever you're just saying on the phone.
Right. I heard that's like kind of just a myth that your phone actually interferes with.
Nah, it's not a myth. So what'll happen is your radio comms, like when somebody says something, it'll just get gibbered. Like you'll hear it mess up a little bit.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was just like they were kind of full of shit. They just didn't want you to be on your phone.
Facts. But I don't know what else it messes up. So like I've only experienced that half of it.
Okay.
So with you kind of being more so like on the inside of like, I know how to fly a plane. I know these different details about planes. Do you feel like it kind of make you think a little different when you might catch a plane somewhere? Like, you the passenger now, you just sitting down in your seat. Do you think about things that normal people wouldn't think about?
Every single trip, bro. When I say every single trip, man, we took a trip to the Bahamas last year, though.
Okay.
And I swear to you, it felt like we was about to run off the runway for landing. Like we landing, and it sounded like he turned on the jet boosters to do a touch and go. And you can't do a touch and go in commercial jets unless you like that's your first instinct once you hit the ground, boom, or like right before, like, oh, I'm not gonna make it. But he hit the ground so hard it felt like the wheels collapsed, boom, and then all you hear is the jets go forward. I was like, oh, wait a minute, we going back up. But no, he ended up slowing it down in just enough time to whip it around and turn us back into the lane.
Because I guess like
that's funny,
me,
yeah.
So for me, I don't have like a fear of plane. Like I'll catch a plane or whatever, but my whole experience is that it just sucked because it sucked. Like so that's how I'm looking at it. Like, I might have the bad seat that I don't like, or I don't like to be cluttered up with people, and however they fly into me is just like, this is just how it's supposed to be. So I would think, like kind of like how we just touched on, like it's a lot of little things where you be like, no, they doing something wrong up there, or they doing too much up there. Like, I don't know what's going on. Where all I can do is just be like, that's just how the plane is,
Yeah, see, yeah. I kind of learned that going through school at Bowling Green. Every plane is different, every seat is different, every person is different. Excuse me, and that's kind of like something that's tailored me to not only kind of I really want to start my own business in aviation, but that takes a lot of money and a lot of time for real, and a lot of different licenses. So one thing that I kind of want to do is actually start a private or a corporate business where I'm just flying people around like me and you, literally. But like y'all two decided, hey, I want to go shoot this podcast over in Atlanta with such and such. I'd be like, all right, shoot, just pay me $100. We're gonna fly from there to here. That's it.
Right. So technically right now you could buy a plane and you're totally certified to go fly that plane if you bought it.
Yep.
That's dope.
But it's like, it's not necessarily you buying it. So it's like basically renting a car for real. So you rent a car, boom, you go to a rental car service like Hertz, Enterprise, things like that.
Yeah, you have to have your license.
Yeah, you got to have your license. You got to have a medical certificate. You got to have a bunch of different documents just to show that you're able to fly, and as well as pass an I'm safe checklist. An I'm safe checklist is basically, are you ill? Do you have mental issues? Are you stressed out? Have you
Oh
been drinking
yeah.
alcohol? Are you fatigued? Have you ate within the last 8 hours? Like those are things that you got to go through as a checklist.
Yeah, because you can't be falling asleep. That's dude. That's yeah.
Exactly.
You can't be falling asleep when you're on a plane. Like there's
No coming back from that,
no
because
coming back.
if
Yeah.
you fall asleep and you go into like real life deep sleep and you don't have a second pilot or a co-pilot there to like
Damn, it's
take the
scary.
controls, yeah, there's no coming back. That's why people frown upon single pilot operations, and that means just one pilot in there. That's why they like to have two pilots whenever you're going or doing
Right.
longer trips and things like that, or flying bigger planes. So that's
Yeah.
something that you gotta take like heed of whenever you're flying a plane or renting a plane, honestly. So like the planes that I can fly are all prop planes, up to the ones that's literally on my neck. So it's like a small plane with two engines, things like that. The wheels retract and stuff like that. So got a little bit of fancy gadgets in it. Sometimes they may have autopilot, sometimes they may not. Sometimes they may have GPS, sometimes they may not. So those are like the different things you got to take into like aspect whenever you're hopping into another plane, because not all, when I say not all planes are the same, you could hop into a plane that has a computer screen as big as the one that I'm looking at right now that shows you GPS, shows you all the places that you're going to talk to, or you could hop into one that looks like a old school
Old.
94 Chevy
Yeah.
that just has dials for like the radio station. And that's kind of something that you got to look at. And a rule of thumb is, if you haven't flown that type of plane or seen those type of instruments, you kind of want to get your experience in it first before taking somebody else on there. And that's what they tell you that you got to do. So anytime that I decide to rent a plane or fly somewhere, I actually got to go through a class or a couple of classes to actually learn it and then be able to take it on a flight. So they tell you, so like, let's say I wanted to rent a plane from the Statesville airport where they got planes like that I can fly. They tell me I got to go through a review process. So review process is me sitting with a pilot or an instructor, and they take me on a flight and basically not telling me how to fly the plane, but I show them how to fly the plane and show
Yeah, they
them that I'm
quiz you
able to
kind
use.
of.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's basically me going to school again for about an hour. Then I got to come touch back down again and then go take the flight that I want to take. And when I do that, that's when I pay X amount of dollars for however long I want to rent the plane. So like, let's say I want to rent it for 5 days. Boom, we go out to Florida or something.
Dude, that'd
It's
be
$100 an hour, and it's like stacks of money, even like
Oh,
racks.
really? That's what I was about to ask. How much do you think it is? Damn, so it's that much money?
Yeah, so it's like $100. It's $140 an hour for a wet plane. Wet meaning like it's full of gas. A dry plane means whatever the gas was left over, and you got to fill it up wherever you go to.
Damn, that gas. How much is the usual gas
ten
breakdown?
dollars. $10. I ain't gonna lie to you. So $10 literally a gallon, like that's the minimum. So like eight, I would
Yeah, but
say
those
eight.
gallons are probably they're huge tanks, right?
Oh yeah. So I want to say the plane that I flew was 14 on both sides. So that's what, 28 gallons. So you looking at 200 something dollars just
I
for
always kind
the
of wanted to
gas.
know, like the whole, I guess, like helicopter game, because like it's places you can go, anytime. Like, say I want to get on a helicopter, they'll probably give me like 10 or 15 minutes, and it'd be like 250. There and back. So I always kind of wondered, like, how does that work on like day end? Um, between like how much is gas? I don't really know.
To be honest with you, I don't exactly know. I can't really give you a number
I
on
got you.
gas and how much that is. But if I could give you like a random like thought about it, I would say just for like, if you're a passenger on that trip, it should be around 150 to 200 just as one person. Let's say
Yeah,
you're going with a group, it should be, if it's five of y'all, it should be at least 250, maybe three at max for real,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a
They're
lot
like
of people
typical
on there.
prices, no matter what city. I mean, what
Yeah.
most cities like I've been to.
But like if I was to individually rent out a helicopter and go fly it, um, I have no clue because I honestly don't know how much it is to like to rent a helicopter. I believe it may
Yeah.
be cheaper
Yeah,
because
I feel like it got to be like way cheaper because like I just see them in too many towns. And then if this is people hustle, I feel like they got to be making a decent profit.
But I would say this though, it also depends on the type of plane. So like, let's say I rented a single engine aircraft, boom, it may be lower than a dual engine aircraft. But let's say I rented a jet, the price of just renting it may be well more than the gas that we spent just to get there. So, two engine, 12-seater jet may be $1,500 an hour, and that's just to fly from point A to point B.
Damn.
Yeah.
So what's the usual thing? So you graduate in aviation. How do you go from graduating in aviation to flying for like Delta or
You got
how
to
does it?
teach people. Like literally. So people mainly, whenever they go into aviation, their main goals are to either become a corporate pilot or a commercial pilot. And when they do that, their their next step after graduating from basic school of single engine, multi-engine, commercial, and instrument training, you go into CFI training, which is certified flight instructor. That's a route that I didn't take. That's a route that I kind of want to take when I go into the military because it's a more strict rule. You got a more set plan database, whenever you getting in, when you getting out. And that's kind of how I want to do it. But within the civilian world of just like regular people like us, you could literally, it could take you 10 times longer to get that same rating of a CFI or your commercial pilots, or what is it, ATP, which is air transport pilot's license, and that's to fly the big boys or jets or things like that. But that's only you being certified in that type of aircraft. So you got to get 1,500 hours. I'm only at 250, and that's like a baseline number. But after that, you go into certified flight instructors, and that's where you go teach other people how to fly, and that's how you get your hours up along that route.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a long process to go from
Literally,
yeah,
a long process and a lot of money. Literally, a lot of money.
that's crazy. So yeah, that's crazy because that makes sense if you look at who's the pilots on these planes, like they're old men,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and that's
or
just
old women.
so. I work in a hospital, and I was literally thinking about that same thing. Like being in a hospital, you see young CNAs, young RNs, young like regular workers, but then you actually look at the physicians, the doctors, the surgeons. Every single one of them got gray hair somewhere.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, like it's taking them a process to actually get there. Either that they got gray hair or they bald. One of the two,
Yeah.
literally.
I mean, the stress probably crazy,
Oh yeah, oh
but
yeah.
yeah, and I wonder if it pays. I mean, yes, obviously the big commercial like airplane people make a lot of money. Those pilots,
Mm.
um, but but I know it costs so much money to even go in the aviation program at BG. I couldn't imagine how much the other programs cost. Like it all adds up to probably a crazy amount of money.
So I would say this on top of your regular tuition. In state, I believe when I started was probably like 13, maybe 14,000. Out of state was 18. So I live out of state. So I was paying 18,000 with a $3,000 scholarship from the school itself. But then on top of that, it was like a $6,000 to $8,000 increase every single year that you moved up within the aviation program. So I was paying 18,000 plus another 6,000 for my freshman year. Then boom, paying that same 18,000 plus another
Damn,
8,000 to 10,000.
you own those planes practically.
Literally,
Like
literally.
that's crazy. Isn't that crazy? The hustle. That's how they can get all these brand new shit, man.
No, for real.
Their
That's
hustle
exactly
is
how it is. So
crazy.
like I feel like they just finished building the new hangar that's out there. I haven't gone to see it yet, but before I graduated, they built a whole new facility. Like, and it's even not. It's better than the one that they used to have, and it's a lot more space. But at the same time, the same way that they did the flight instructors room where everybody teaches and like that's where you get your hands-on process with the instructors and whatnot. It's still a cluttered space. I feel like if they could expand that even more, it would be a lot better because you got more of a one-on-one with the instructor.
Yeah, BG builds more things than I think any other college. Like I don't know if I go to like OU, they might be building like one building like every other year, but BG's building like, oh no, we need new business, we need new hangar, we need like let's wreck this building, let's rebuild this.
I swear they built 4 buildings at one time. 4 of them.
Yeah,
Literally.
a whole Greek village. Like within the last 4 years, they've built new Greek village. They've redone like Hannah Hall into the business one. They built what else did they build?
They took that women's center out. They
they wrecked Harshman. Yeah. Dude,
they rebuilt the whole aviation center. Like literally rebuilt it, added a whole nother hangar too.
That's how you know they have so much money.
Oh yeah. They just don't know what to do with it.
They're like, what do you guys think about this year? Oh, yeah, the Wolf Center needs a little update. And then they
But don't think nothing about parking. We got to park all the way out.
Yeah. They're like, no, actually, let's take out this parking lot and we can build another building. People will figure it out. They can just walk.
For real.
Yeah. But so you said you're going to the military?
Planning on the Air Force Reserves or Air Force active duty. Honestly, I've been speaking to a recruiter out here. Supposed to be taking the AFOQT. Like when I say as much as I do music, it's as much as I study, literally. So like if I spend 2 hours on some songs or something like that, the very next day I'll be spending 8 hours on studying for real. And that's literally me going to work, walking around a bunch of places, looking at different things at work, and then coming back to sit down and just like relax or chill out for a second. I'm literally studying.
Yeah. So is that more of the route you want to take so you can like actually fly planes quicker and like use your aviation degree?
Yes, just to fly planes quicker and get more hours. So like with how I want to do it, once I get my hours, once I get through the aviation process of flying the planes and knowing the ins and out of it, I kind of want to go ahead and get my type rating in certain types of jets that I would want to employ or have as a fleet for my own business and go ahead and start that there.
Yeah, you can have it, dude. Once you get all your hours up, man, and you're making money, buy a plane, throw these or rent a plane, throw these. You could throw showcases on the plane, dude. The first,
exactly.
Like what movie was that? With Kevin Hart? Fuck,
Soul Plane.
Soul Plane, dude.
Oh yeah. Dude, I was thinking about something like that. Like actually, so you know how party buses go? Like party plane. Literally, you got a party plane, but we don't have to go nowhere. So we can literally stay on the airport and we just shuttle people in and out.
You could even just drive around the airport. Like, I don't know, just like, I'm picturing just like.
Can't do that. So, look, can't do that. There's a lot of rules and regulations with that. I mean, it would be smart too, but like at the same time, people be wanting to like actually take off and go somewhere else and do something else. But as much money as it costs just for that plane to sit there on the ramp itself, it costs even more to turn the joint on and take it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's crazy how expensive like planes can get, but how much money they could make if like you actually like own a plane.
Exactly.
Yeah. So one last thing, kind of what do you have to say to younger Ken, just kind of experiencing life, say, like 10 years ago? What do you have to say to that young Ken?
Man, to the young one, I would say
keep advice you'd give.
Keep dreaming, stop worrying about the females, and keep moving, like keep pushing, for real, because at the end of the day, all you got is yourself. You got your family, they're going to support you through everything, but at the same time, you got to have a goal, you got to have a mindset, you got to go get it.
Yeah, I love that. I can't wait to see what you do. I can't wait you can fly me and Will around.
Oh yeah, big facts. Got to get back to the people.
Yeah, got you. Anything else, Will?
Yeah, pretty much the same, man. You get a helicopter, come to Cleveland. We gonna pay our fee, man. Whatever the fee is.
Yeah.
I'd rather fly a jet out there just so y'all can have a jet. But once I get the jet, and then I'm gonna go get the helicopter, and we can fly wherever around Cleveland too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
I'm looking for it.
Yeah. So just give the audience where they can find you at.
You can actually find me on SoundCloud. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, all at Ken Da Barber, KenDaBarber, no spaces at all. Or you can find me on IG, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all at the same literal handle. THE_KENBARBER. That is D_Ken Barber.
Okay, great. Everyone check him out.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Oh yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, well, hey, well, this was great. Thanks for being our first, Zoom podcast. I think it worked out really well.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was great having you on the show.
All right.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for listening and watching. It's your boy, Chef T.
I'm with a Spacekid.
And Ken Da Barber, Hellcat Charger. Skirt. Hey.
So,
Yeah, you heard? All right. Well, keep it real, y'all. Thank you for listening and joining us on another episode of the Stirfry. All the music was created by Steve Ozell. Check him out on all streaming services at Stevo Music, spelled ST3V30 Music. Also, if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. We'd greatly appreciate it. And see you next Tuesday when we talk with Denisha B. She is an author of Twisted Suicide as well as a few others. She gives us tips into writing and her journey to becoming an author. It was really great, so you won't want to miss it. See you next week, y'all.